Hey, welcome World Entertainment, and you can see the headline right there, and there's multiple headlines saying this, that Supergirl fan interest drops after star Millie Alcock claims it's okay to piss off the right people. There's also saying that the interest is dropping off because of her attacks on Christian fathers, because that was one of the things she said, was like, oh, what are we making this for? The people that are attackers are always these people with the I'm a Christian dad of 4 kids in their bio and stuff like that. It's just like, what the hell? Here's the thing though, it's not just Supergirl that this type of crap is happening with, because you can see right here, the Odyssey audience interest plummets amid Christopher Nolan backlash. It's happening with everything, and all the indication is saying that young audiences in particular are sick of this type of stuff. Now, Millie Alcock has really put her foot in it. She really has. That's the issue here. There was no problem with her being cast as Kara Zor-El, aka Supergirl. Nobody had an issue with it. The media is trying to paint that there was a massive issue with it, that there was backlash from the second it was announced, and it was like, no, it wasn't. And for some reason, Millie Alcock has played into that and said, oh yeah, it's this weird ownership of women's bodies and stuff. And it's like, what are you doing? Why are you saying this? There's no backlash to your casting. The story that you are adapting, that's what the issue is. But, yeah, this is strange. Now, they can't afford for this thing to bomb. They actually can't afford for it to bomb. And it's like, oh, what do they do if it does? Because they have to continue with this character because she's going to be in Man of Tomorrow. But let's take a look at exactly what's going on here, because the interest for this movie wasn't always there anyway. You know, Superman didn't land with audiences. Nobody really had interest in Supergirl. The trailers, when everybody sits back and goes, it's just Guardians of the Galaxy again, and then when they keep trying to say, oh no it isn't, like the media goes, oh people are calling it out as Guardians of the Galaxy, but it's anything but. And then you have the directors and the producers and James Gunn himself saying, it's very Guardians of the Galaxy. It's like, good God. But when you start attacking your audience, your paying customers, the people who will make this movie a success or a bomb, yeah, you kind of piss on yourself. Let's take a look at exactly what's happening here. So, things may be getting worse for DC Studios. According to new audience tracking, fan interest in Supergirl has started slipping as controversy surrounding star Millie Alcock continues to grow online. That controversy, of course, is all the dumb shit that she's starting to come out and say all the time now. You know, she keeps doing interviews now where the media keeps setting up the question and she keeps taking the bait. So, the latest data from the Quorum, whatever that is, shows the film sitting at 53% awareness but only 46% audience interest. That may not sound catastrophic on the surface, but the bigger issue is the trend line. So, earlier tracking had Supergirl sitting at the same 53% awareness level while carrying a 48% audience interest. In other words, awareness for the film has completely stalled, while actual excitement about seeing it is now moving backwards. Now that is interesting, that here is a major property like Supergirl, a major DC property, the next major DCU movie to come out, and there's only a 53% awareness about this movie. That means there's over, well over 40% of people who don't even know about this movie. Now, that is obviously your normal kind of, the normies who aren't interested in any of this stuff. But you think that number for normies not really knowing about it would be smaller compared to the wider audience who go to movies, especially on a regular basis. So that should be a bit worrying for them. So this is a growing trend with Supergirl, as interest tracking via the same platform back in February listed the movie at a 51.67%. That's the exact opposite of what Warner Brothers and DC Studios need to see with release approaching. The most concerning part of the new tracking is not necessarily the raw number itself, it is the direction. Generally speaking, studios want interest to increase as marketing ramps up closer to release. Trailers, TV spots, interviews, and social media campaigns are supposed to create momentum. You've just mentioned the one thing that is one of the biggest issues for it. Right there. Interviews. Because the interviews is where this thing is starting to blow up. Because it's the interviews where the stupid shit is starting to get said. Now, it's going to be interesting to actually see the big marketing push, which I'm surprised there hasn't been yet. I haven't actually seen the likes of Jason Momoa being brought out in interviews. I haven't even actually seen Millie Alcock being brought out in interviews. She's doing like the interviews with Variety and stuff like that, but I haven't seen her like come out on talk shows, unless I've just missed it. But you can't even have the guy, as far as I'm aware, you can't even have the guy who's playing Krem, because he got arrested. I'm pretty sure it was him that got arrested there a while ago, a few months back. So, how are you promoting this movie? You don't seem to have any of your actors out there actually promoting it, other than having Millie Alcock go and do interviews for magazines and stuff where she's getting baited into saying stupid shit and she's taking that bait. But this says, instead, Supergirl appears to be losing it. The Quorum tracks awareness and interest through audience surveys, giving studios an early snapshot of how much general moviegoers know about an upcoming film and whether they actually want to see it. And right now, the data suggests audiences are hearing about Supergirl without becoming more excited for it. Now, you've a couple of issues with that. If that's the general moviegoers, that probably isn't the fact that, they heard Millie Alcock saying all this stupid shit about, people having this weird ownership over women's bodies, or, the audience that always seems to be vocal are just these dumb Christian fathers and blah blah blah. That would indicate that there's zero interest in more superhero movies. If the general audience is going, I know about it, but I have no interest in it, that is clearly superhero fatigue. The very thing James Gunn tries to say, there's no such thing as superhero fatigue. What he did say, and he may have blown his own foot off by saying it, is there's mediocre movie fatigue. So if this movie comes out and it doesn't even crack 400 million, James Gunn, you've just said your movie is mediocre. Because if there's no fan interest and no one goes to see it, then that would mean your movie was mediocre according to you. Because as he said, there's no such thing as superhero fatigue. So, the decline in audience interest also arrives shortly after growing backlash surrounding Millie Alcock's public comments about fans. Alcock previously generated criticism online after mocking Christian dads while discussing fan backlash and internet criticism. She also stated she was fine with upsetting the right people, comments that quickly spread across social media and entertainment community circles, commentary circles. And yeah, that is one of those things that we know exactly what you're trying to say when you say it, because you're trying to say the far right, which makes no sense, being the fact as well that she's Australian. She is not American. So saying that, and anytime that is said, you attribute to Trump supporters. You go, oh, MAGA, that's who they're talking about. And it's like, why would you even bring that up? It makes no sense. And who are the right people in their minds? That's what I'd really... Because if they don't want to say, MAGA or the Democrats or anything like that, if they don't want to try and make it political and just say, it's just a... Then say who it is you mean, instead of, it's okay to piss off the right people. Who are the right people in these people's minds then? So for many fans, the comments felt like another example of Hollywood actors antagonizing portions of the paying audience before a movie even releases. Studios and entertainment journalists frequently dismiss those controversies as meaningless internet drama and blah 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 blah. Yeah, and that is one of the problems. The media are the ones who keep painting this as this thing. The media are the ones who keep going after all of the fan bases, and they keep dragging the actors and the studios and the directors and stuff in. And the biggest issues is they take the bait. And there's only one reason you would take the bait. You would take the bait because it's what you believe yourself. Again, where? I still have not been shown anywhere backlash to Millie Alcock being cast as Supergirl. Where is it? She hasn't shown it. None of the media who says it's happened has shown it. Nobody online seems to have shown it. Where is that backlash? It's non-existent. And it's really unfortunate that these people do it, because never mind what it will do to Supergirl, it's what does it do to interest regarding Millie Alcock after this. Any project she gets attached to now, are people literally going to go, she's just a man-hating bitch. Don't need to see a movie with her. She clearly doesn't like us and doesn't want us there. That's what happens. So, I think she was incredibly dumb to take the bait, but she keeps doubling down on it, mainly because the media keeps pushing on it and she keeps taking the bait. It's going to damage this movie something terrible, and it's going to damage her reputation something terrible as well. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Is your interest gone from this movie? Did you ever have any interest? And again, it's not just this movie, it's happening with the Odyssey as well. After Lupita Nyong'o came out with her stupid shit, and Elliot Page and all this crap, and Christopher Nolan coming out and saying stupid shit, interest for that movie has plummeted as well. So, are we seeing the end of this type of stuff? Have audiences finally just said, you know what, we're done with all your bullshit? Let me know what you guys think. And with that, I shall leave it there for this one. So do like and share and subscribe and all that good stuff, and hit that hype button. Cheers, and I will catch you in the next one.